everyone. Welcome back to Square Enix Presents at E3 2014. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying the show so far. We have a lot more to come, so make sure you subscribe and add your comments to the feed at the same time. We'll be here and checking them out. And stay tuned for cool exclusive reveals coming throughout the day, throughout the show, especially on this show. Hint, hint. Welcome everybody to the Letter from the Producer Live E3 edition. Very excited to be here. This is the longest running Letter from the Producer Live E3 show we've had. This is the second annual, second ever. We're back. We have a lot more excitement, a lot more exciting questions, a lot of good answers, I hope, and
good answers.
Some exciting reveals. So let's get started. Let me introduce myself. My name is Matt Hilton. I'll be your host. You may know me on the forums if you visit the Final Fantasy XIV forums as Bayonne. I'll be the host and trying to get as much information as possible from Yoshida-san. So without further ado, let me introduce producer director Naoki Yoshida.
よろしくお願いします。早くからもうブース前もすごい人だし、日本でもね、多分起きて見てる人もいっぱいいるんじゃないかなと。
I mean, right now we've got a ton of people in front of the booth, a ton of people lined up, and even though it's, 4 o'clock in the morning in Japan, there's a lot of people listening in. 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock, okay.
I know how that feels. That's how we feel during a normal letter from the producers, so we're very used to that on our side too. So outside, you talked about a little bit, but right outside we have the Final Fantasy XIV Battle Challenge against Leviathan. And what do you think so far? How do you think it's been going out there?
外にレバイアさんのバトルチャレンジは今、たった今、行われているんですけど、どうですか見てて。
さっきチーム名が勝って大喜びしましたね。でもうすごい列でブース取り囲むぐらいもう並んでるんで。
We just had, I guess, our first round, and out of the first round, one team actually defeated Leviathan and got the T-shirts. But there is currently a line going all the way around our booth for people looking forward to play it. So.
Yes, it is. It's almost wrapped around the entire booth, and it's going to be very packed. But hey, you know, one team out of 3 is not too bad. That's a good start, I guess you could say. Hopefully, everybody gives them some good well wishes to beat it and get that awesome T-shirt. Oh, thank you for joining us. I know you got some exciting stuff to talk about, so let's move on. We also have with us joining is Michael Christopher Koji Fox, localization lead of Final Fantasy XIV.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. You guys may know him as Fern Halls on the forum.
That's me.
Actually, you know, speaking of, it seems like you disappeared for some time there during the from the forum.
Yeah, I took a little bit of leave I had my first son
congrats.
Last year in February. Took a little bit of time off to help rear the child, teach him how to, tank properly on FF14.
Nice.
I mean, he's 16 months now. He needs to, be a proper tank. So.
That's awesome.
But yeah, since April 1st, I'm back with the team. And so this is my first time doing interpreting since I've been back. So it's been about a year since I've been gone, so I'm a little bit nervous.
Yeah, no pressure. I'm sure you're...
No pressure.
めっちゃ緊張してるね。
Yes, I'm very nervous. I'm very nervous.
Yoshida's reverse translating now, so he'll handle all his own translations if you have any problems. Don't worry. Well, that's great. I'm glad you guys could both be here. I'm sure everybody is excited at home and ready for all the excitement. So I guess let's go ahead and get started.
そうプロデューサーレターライブはね、普段からどうしても日本で放送するとその日本時間になっちゃうし、日本語放送ばっかりなんですけど、今回はね E3 ってこともあって、できるだけ北米の皆さんの質問に答えつつ英語で放送していこうと思ってますんで、はい、よろしくお願いします。
Okay, I mean, normally, we have our Producer Letter Lives in Japan, and so it's always done in Japan time. So it's usually very early or very late for our users in Europe and in America.
Yes.
But this is E3. This is the biggest game show in the West. So we wanted to do it for our Western users, and we wanted to make sure that the questions that we answered were also questions that our Western users had posed to us. And so we hope to answer a bunch today. So let's get to it.
Yeah. We gathered a really good kind of cross section, not just hardcore, but also some fun questions. So I guess let's go ahead and get started. We chose some of the questions from the forum that had a lot of likes. So let's go ahead and start number 1. Yoshida, would you ever consider adding a hug emote?
抱きしめるハグのエモートを追加する予定はありますでしょうか？
そうハグのエモート欲しいって声は結構あるのと、あと僕スラップヒッパタクが欲しいんで、この2つはちょっと早めに実装しようかって話をしてたりもするので、リストの中に入れて優先的に対応していこうと思います。
A lot of players in both Japan and the West have been asking for a hug emote.
Yes.
And I personally have wanted a slap emote for a long time. So we want to get those two in as quickly as possible. So we're working on getting those two in.
Nice. So even no hurdle with animation, you guys will be able to get in there.
やっぱこうアニメーションの問題もあるんじゃないですか、ハグになる。
まあまあね。まあ、ファイナルファンタジーだとどうしてもこうキャラクター同士が重なっちゃったりとか、ね、潜ったりって言うと思うんですけど、やっぱりなんだろう、例えばバインディングコイルとかもそうですけど、すごい苦しい戦いを切り抜けて勝った時ぐらいでみんなでこうねやりたいと思うんで、あんまりなんかグラフィックスのこと考えずに感情表現なんで入れたらいいんじゃないっていう話。
I mean, there's always the problem of, again, because it's an online game and there's different sizes of characters, that there might be graphic overlap and people might worry about that. But again, with a hug emote, it's about the emotion.
Right.
You know, you've gotten through the binding coil and everyone's excited. You know, you want to grab the person next to you and hug them and show that you
or
know,
slap your tank. If your tanks are dead, slap them.
So we don't want to worry too much about that graphic overlap or issues like that, because we want the players to have the opportunity to be able to express their feelings.
Sounds great. I'm sure players are going to be really excited to hear that. So let's go ahead on number 2. So have you ever thought about incorporating some relic type of equipment, like a main tool, for the Disciples of the Hand, Disciples of the Land?
クラフターギャザラーの専用レリックは、実装する予定はありますでしょうか？
ちょうどパッチ 2.3 でクラフター、特にクラフターに向けて新しいサルベージっていうアイテムを分解してまた新しいアイテムを作ったり素材を手に入れたりっていうコンテンツが入ってきて、まあ、そこから派生してまたクラフターの使う道具のアップデートなんかも考えているので、この先のパッチをねぜひ楽しみに待っててほしいなと思います。
Okay, so in patch 2.3, we're going to be introducing the desynthesis system for the Disciples of the Hand. And so by taking items, desynthesizing them, getting new items, and then using these items to create new types of items as well. So this will open the door for the Disciples of the Hand and give them new opportunities. And then from there, maybe turning those into something in future patches is something that we're definitely thinking.
ちなみにさ、クラフターギャザラーのレリックって光るノコギリとか光るツルハシとかそっちが欲しいのかな。
So do you think that what the players want is like the relic weapons they shine brightly and have the effects on them? Does someone really want like a glowing saw or a glowing
making eggs?
Pick?
I think so. I think they like to stand out. Even if they're making eggs for their raid group, they want to show off.
卵焼いてる時はやっぱね光ってる
のがいい。
フライパンは欲しい。
ものすごいファイヤー出るやつとか。
Yeah, like flames coming out of the fire.
That would be awesome.
なるほどね。
Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds like maybe a possibility for the future. So let's go on to our next question. So what is the status for the future for the other known areas that surround Coerthus that appeared in 1.0?
旧 FF14 ではクルザスとモードゥナってまたたくさんのエリアあったじゃないですか。今は一つになってるんですけど、他の4つのエリアはいずれか行けるようにはなりますでしょうか。
まずそもそも 1.0 のラストで第7零祭のクライマックスでメテオが落ちてきてバハムートが出て世界を焼き尽くすっていう時に行けなくなってしまったエリアも特にモードナーに関してはあって、で今回そのパッチ 2.3 で、入るフロントラインっていう戦場になるエリアがまさにカルテノ平原だったりするので、そこで新しく行けるエリアというか、そこ丸ごとフィールドが戦場になるので、なんか昔のモードナーあたりが惨状でどうなったのかっていうのは、そこを見てもらえればわかるんじゃないかな。
So, as you know, at the end of the 1.0 story, Meteor came, destroyed.
Bahamut came
out.
Broke
out. Yeah, broke out. parts of the world were demolished, parts were blocked off,
Right.
And you can't get to them now. And so, but what we're going to be doing is opening up new areas, especially in 2.3 with the frontline PvP. A new area in the Cardinal Plains will become accessible. And that being in close proximity to Mordona, you'll be able to see what happened to those areas that were destroyed.
でまあクルザスに関してはねえ行きたいところもあるだろうしねイシュガルドとかねまあそのあたりはねこれからの情報公開をお楽しみに。
As for Kurthus, well, yeah, I'm sure a lot of people really want to go to those areas in Kurthus, but hopefully soon we'll be able to go to those areas in Kurthus, Ishgard,
that kind of
areas,
that kind of thing, you know, that those kind of areas.
Those kind of areas, yes.
I see. Well, I'm sure the forums are exploding right now, and I'm sure people are going crazy in chat. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing that, especially with the frontline stuff. I'm really curious to see how that stuff's going to look. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. So in the last letter from the producer live, you talked about a ridiculously hard battle. You know, maybe making it so difficult that even the dev team themselves, maybe they couldn't even beat it. And then maybe, you know, maybe the reward would be something kind of interesting. So can you tell us a little bit more details about this kind of crazy hard battle you were thinking about?
前回の、レターライブで、話に出てた、超難易度の高い、コンテンツをこれから、入れるっていう話だったんですけど、これはもうちょっと詳細を教えてもらいたいんですけど。
まあ簡単に言ってしまうと、まあ、大迷宮バハムートバインディングコイルの、まあ、エクストリームモードを入れようという話をしてます。
Okay, so specifically speaking, we were talking about a harder level of the binding coil of Bahamut. An extreme or brutal mode. That's what we're calling it in English.
Oh man.
で、今日本語名だと大迷宮バハムート霊式進行編っていう。
Yeah, that's in English we're basically going to be calling it the brutal version because it will be brutal.
で、基本的にはそのバインディングコイル、まあ進行編の4つのボスが全てエクストリーム状態で出てくるんですけど、僕らそのバインディングコイル大迷宮バハムートエンドコンテンツ作るときって一番最初に仕様通りにすごい難しい状態で作って自分たちでプレイしながら少しずつこうギミックを調整していって、まあプレイヤーの皆さんにリリースするんですけど、今回出そうとしてるのはその一番最初にだからまさにタイプ0作った状態で僕らもクリアできるかどうかわからない。
Okay. So how we're going to be doing this is this brutal battle is going to basically be a powered up version of all 4 bosses that you experience in the coil. And when we first did our design for the binding coil, and we made a very, very difficult battle, and then we started adjusting it based on how difficult it was. And what we released in the final version was the adjusted version.
Right.
Something that we thought that would be very difficult, but players could get through.
Yeah, they could
what we're going to be releasing now is basically that Type 0, that first version that we originally made that none of us could beat. And we don't know if even we can beat it now. And we're going to leave it to the players to challenge.
Nice.
いや本当にだから最初例えばラフレシアのね、トラップで、まあ、動いたら爆発するギミックも最初はみんなにデバッフがついてそのデバッフがついてる状態で動くと爆発するっていう、まあ、仕様で作ろうとしてたんですけど処理がすごい複雑になってしまってその方法じゃちょっと実装できないっていう話になってで今の、まあ、コンテンツディレクターっていうそのプログラムがプレイヤーのステータスを監視するような作りになったんですけど最初だから僕らテストしてる時エフェクトもなくて突然爆発し死んでたんでこれはないだろうってだからそうやって一個ずつ細かくギミックって作っていくんですけど、まあそこまでさすがになんだろうノーヒントみたいな状態にはならないと思いますけどかなりランダム性も強くなると思うのでもう本当にクリアできるかどうかはもうプレイヤーの皆さんの腕次第じゃないかな。
Okay, so for example, like the battle with the Flacia, what they had originally planned was, that you would start in a debuffed type of status.
Okay.
And if you moved, it would explode and you would lose all of your hit points. And
Sure.
when we originally made it, there was not even an effect that went with that.
Oh,
you just
man.
kind of
You
started
had to-
losing
you had to know.
experience points. You had to know, and there was no hints at all. And so that's the type of challenge it's going to be. We don't want to go into it with completely zero hints,
Right.
but we want to make it more difficult in the sense that you're not going to know until you
Not gonna
actually
have that
experience.
kind of guide.
And, yeah, and then also we want to add more, basically make it more random as well, that you don't know what's going to come next. So it's going to be one of those things that we really don't know if the players will be able to complete this all. It's going to be that hard. That's why we call it brutal in the English version.
だからまあ今回はそのテスト的に実装する意味合いもあってそのエクストリーム霊式大迷宮バハムート霊式の方は、通常のタイプと同じ、ハイアラガンが普通にドロップしますクリアをすれば。
Okay, but even though we look at this as kind of a test, as it's it's going to be difficult for players, but whether the players can step up to the challenge, this type 0 battle, but that doesn't mean it's going to be completely rewardless. Rewards will be the same.
Nice.
So those drops will be the same.
ただその進行そのコンテンツが進んでるそのウィークリーのフラグも、共通のフラグになってしまうので、エクストリームの方行ってしまうとノーマルの方行けなくなるので、もしもうすでにバインディングコイル4層突破した人たち8人揃わないとチャレンジできないので、ただし専用のその称号がそこにだけ用意されているので、ぜひねそれをネームタグにつけたい方は、挑んでみてほしいので。
And again, just so the players know, the weekly flag will be the same. So if you've already completed the normal version, you won't be able to go into extreme or the brutal version. And if you've already completed the brutal version, you won't be able to, vice versa. And people are going to have cleared the previous versions at least once. So you have to get 8 players that have all cleared the hardest versions to be able to go into this brutal version. But there will be a special title. If you clear it, you'll get the special title, and you can show that off to all the other players.
Yeah, nice.
That you are elite.
だからもし世界中で僕らが想像している以上に挑戦するプレイヤーが多いんであれば、今後そのエクストリームを作るときに、専用の報酬っていうのは考えてもいいかもねと。で今回はまずとにかく早めに皆さんに一回提供してみようという形になってます。
And so, we want to use this as a test to see how many players out there can actually, defeat this challenge. And if it looks like there's a lot of players that that can, and there's a lot of interest in these type of battles, then maybe for future brutal battles we'll add new types of loot. But for now we're going to keep it the same as the original.
Makes sense. I know ever since they implemented titles now above your character, your nameplate, people have been showing off a lot of their exciting titles, so I'm sure this would be one that would be
だからこれ
pride.
予定ではパッチ 2.3 でいきますんで。
All right, so yeah, but we're planning this for patch 2.3.
Oh, nice.
So get ready.
That's awesome.
はい。
Okay, you know what? I feel like this is E3, and this is where we're supposed to have like the big announcements. And so far, we've been having fun, talking about hugs, talking about brutal battles. That's all well and good. But you've been talking about the expansion. You've been talking about we're working on it. You have to be working on new jobs for the expansion, new classes for the expansion. You got to give us something. This is E3.
やっぱりここ E3 ですからやっぱこうハグはいいんですけど、やっぱもうちょっとビッグな情報が欲しいんです。欲しいです。例えば拡張パックの話だったりとか。
everybody outside like to hear something. They're all going, yeah. Everybody
みん
at
なおー
home.
ってなってる。じゃあせっかくね1年ぶり去年の E3 では、ローンチ直前でベータテストフェーズ3がね E3 明けから始まりますみたいな状態で、1年経って帰ってこれたので、ここで新しいじゃあ情報を一つ動画でまずは見てもらおうかなと。詳しい説明は見た後にします。
Okay, so and it's been a year since the last E3, and since we started beta, and we gave some good stuff back at that E3, and because it's our second E3 and we're back here, we want to give you guys something special. So we're going to show you a video, and then we'll explain it after we've shown it.
All right.
じゃあぜひ注目してください。どうぞ。
Take a look.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
My jaw was on the floor. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I'm super excited. You gotta tell us about what we just saw. We got new class, new job.
これ新しいクラス、新しいジョブじゃないですか。
はい。どうも事前に割とね E3 できっとそのニュークラスニュージョブが出るんじゃないかって皆さん言ってて、割とそのエクスパンション拡張で入るニュークラスとニュージョブの発表なんじゃないかと思っている方がかなり多かったと思うんですけど。
So before E3, a lot of people were speculating that there would probably be a reveal of a new class, a new job that's going to be released during at the expansion pack at that timing.
Right.
But
エクスパンションってもうちょっと先だし、今年ねファンフェスをロスとラスベガスとそれからロンドンと日本でやりますけど、まだまだ情報を出す機会ってあるわけですよ。でここで出すってことはそう遠くない方がねもちろんいいと思うんで。
So again, we talk about the expansion though, but expansion is still kind of far off.
Yeah.
And we have the Fan Fest coming up in October in Las Vegas, London, and in Japan. And probably at that timing we'll talk more about the expansion. But the expansion is still far off now. So we want to talk about something that's coming a little bit sooner than the expansion.
Sooner.
なのでパッチ 2.4 で、はい、ニュークラスニュージョブ。
That's right. You heard it here first.
はい。
Patch 2.4.
で
New class, new
はい
job.
Yes.
でまあ見てもらって分かる通り、まあ双剣士ね2つのこう武器を持って戦うんですけど。
So as you saw in the
Yep.
video, both of them were dual wielding
Yes.
classes. They both had weapons in both hands.
Yes.
まあぶっちゃけ言ったらシーフですよね。
So I mean, it's okay. It's like a thief.
Okay.
It's not called a thief.
Like a thief.
It's like a thief.
まあただそのファイナルファンタジー14の世界だとその各クラスってやっぱりギルドがあって、でギルドの中で技を覚えて教官がいてまあ習って覚えていくのに、さすがにシーフはちょっとどうなんだろうと。だからまあかつて彼らはシーフと呼ばれてた時代もあって、まあそれがその戦いの中でこうまあこなれていって、まあ最終的にはゲームの中では双剣士って呼ばれてるっていう状態になってるので。
Okay, so I mean, you have the classes in Final Fantasy XIV. They fit in with the story. Each class has their own guild and they have their own history. And so when we're thinking of creating a new class and a class that would have its own guild, you think thieves, and that's more like petty thievery.
Yeah.
You want something a little bit more solid. So the story-wise, this new rogue class, they were once thieves, and they over the years have evolved into this rogue class with their own guild, and they'll have their own story and own background.
I mean, obviously, you wouldn't want to host a thieves guild probably in your own city, so makes sense.
そうですね。やっぱこうシーフのギルドだとちょっとね、町としてはっていう。
そうなんだよ。盗賊の集団をね放置している町ってどうだって話になっちゃう。
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, it's like, yeah, why would a city even allow something like that? And so we wanted to make it something that would fit more with the world.
ただまあだからこそそのシーフのイメージちゃんと組んで作ってはあるつもりなので。
But again, they do have that thief history, so we want to make sure that in the lore and in the story that you have that feeling of they came up from thieves and that thief.
だからちょっとだけアナウンスすると特性として通常時から移動速度が速いです他のクラスより。
And so, just to tell you a little bit about the new class,
Yes.
one thing is that movement speed in the field will be a little bit faster than other classes.
であと、落下ダメージがないとかね。
And also, fall damage
まあ
from
軽減で
falling.
すね。
That fall damage will be cut,
Nice.
So it won't be as
Reduced.
much as other classes.
Nice.
They'll be more nimble.
であとはさっきその動画の中ありましたけど毒を使うので武器に毒を塗って。
And then, as you saw in the video, there was a part where it kind of went like this with the swords or with the knives, and there was a little bit of poison on the
Poison
blades.
effect, yeah.
That will be a part of the job as well. That the class will be able to use poison as part of their class actions.
だからまあ複数の毒があるので、まあ場面に応じてねどの毒を使うみたいなことを変えながら戦う。
and there'll be multiple kinds of poison. And the thief or the rogue, sorry, you made me say thief.
I didn't even.
You were looking at me with your thief eyes. So the rogue will be able to use different types of poisons for different types of situations.
あとはそうですね、ステルサーなのでステルスが使えて、ステルス中のみ使える技とかもあるので、その辺はぜひこれからのまた情報公開を楽しみにしておいてくれればいいなと。
And also, it's going to be a stealth type class, and so there will be stealth type actions, and there will be actions that you can only do when in that stealth mode. So.
Nice.
で、そうだね、
yeah.
ちょっとスクリーンショットあるね。今話してたのこいつ？どっち？こっち？
Yeah. Here we have a screenshot of the rogue class.
で見て分かる通りダガーを短い剣を、使います。で左右それぞれ武器があるわけじゃなくて、文句と同じように一つの武器で、一対2本の武器が一対になっているという状態です。
Okay, so you see, the size of the blades is smaller than a regular sword. So main will be like daggers, knives, things like that. And it won't be holding a different item in each hand. It will be like the monks, their sets of fists and knuckles. You'll purchase or you will find a set of knives, and you will use that set.
であとね、上部の方が忍者になります。
And here is a screenshot of the ninja jaw.
これカメラ寄れないんですかね、これ以上。
Rezoom in a little bit.
寄れない。寄れ
Here we
る。
go. Here we
寄
go.
れる。
Here we go. Here we go.
まだいける。
We can more. Stop.
There we
Okay.
これあれですね、忍者のジョブ専用装備を着てる状態。
Yeah. This is going to be the equipment that he's wearing now is going to be that ninja specific
The artifacts.
equipment.
で忍者の方はそのシーフじゃないや、双剣士の毒の特性に加えて陰を使います。陰。
Okay. So the ninja job.
カメラ戻そう。
Ooh.
そう。
It's okay.
Get it
It's
off
like
me.
it zoomed up on your face.
Yoshida is the new job.
But the new job, the new ninja job, will not only incorporate the dual wielding and the poisons that are used by the rogue, but also add the ninjutsu and ninjutsu and the mudra, which are like hand gestures,
Oh, okay.
like this or like this.
Yeah,
It's,
we're not
based
ninjas, so we don't.
so we're not ninjas, so we don't know. But we're based on those type of moves.
なのでよく海外の方がイメージする忍者にかなりなってるんじゃないかなと。でその陰もいくつかの陰があって、それを組み合わせて一通りじゃないのでいくつかの組み合わせがあるので、陰をきちんとバトル中に結んで失敗しないようにきちんと陰を完成させて、あとは忍術を使ってっていう本当にまさに忍者って感じの内容になってます。
So for these actions and how these mudra are used, it's basically there are different types of mudra and they will be used in combinations, and the player will choose the combinations, and if they get correct combinations it will turn into a certain type of ninjutsu, and you can also fail it as well if you do wrong combinations, and so it'll be up to the player how to use these.
でさっき動画では結構早く動いてたので、そのポジションが結構忙しいのかなっていうイメージ持つかもしれないですけど、文句とは違うのでそんなにポジション取りが激しいクラスジョブじゃないんですけど、きっちりその毒だったり陰だったり忍術っていうのをちゃんとコントロールしないと、ダメージが出せないようになってるので、そのあたりの研究をぜひ、ね、していってもらえればなと思ってます。
And battle-wise, in the video, it looked like the ninja and the rogue were moving around a lot, and so maybe some players might be worried that positioning during battle is going to be kind of difficult. I mean, they're going to have to be doing a lot more motion, moving around, getting into the right positions. But we want to assure the players that it's not going to be as stressful as maybe as monk. It's going to be more about using the right combination of these mudras or using the right combination of poisons, and that will be the focus.
I gotcha.
あとはね、他のねタンクとかヒーラーとかね、他のクラスジョブはないのかって話だと思いますけど、それはまた拡張に向かっていろいろ作ってますんで、またお知らせできる機会があれば。
And we know that there's a lot of players out there that are going, okay, where's our tank? Where's our healer? we are working on those new classes and jobs for the expansions.
はい。
So does that mean that then that Rogue and Ninja are just focused on DPS? Yes.
All right.
Cool. So there you go. I mean, that's the very first reveal of our new class, our new job. Hopefully you guys are as excited as I am. There's one question I have to ask because I watched that video like 100 times when I got it. It's just on loop when I getting ready for E3. So the part where the ninja jumps on top of the monster's head, stabs down. So can he do that to every monster
あれ
in
は
the game?
もうビデオもらってから100回ぐらいは繰り返し見てるんですけど、やっぱこう気になったところが一つだけあって、それが忍者が飛んでモンスターの頭にグサッとこう剣を刺さってるところあるんですけど、あれってすべてのエオルゼア内のすべてのモンスターでできることなんですか？
まあちゃんとねイフリートの頭にも行きますし、あとその辺にいる昆虫テントウムシとかに乗ってやるんで。
Yeah, I mean from Ifrit to ladybugs.
Nice.
You can.
忍者はね手を抜いたりはしないんでね、常に全力で刺しに行きますんで。
That's right. Well, ninjas go for the kill. So whether it be a ladybug or a squirrel or mandragora.
Nice. That's the first thing I'm going to do.
All right.
例えばですけど、じゃあ例えばタイタンの場合ってどこに刺しに行くんだろうとかっていうのはぜひねリリースされたら皆さんいろいろやってみてほしい。
I mean, I guess the positioning is going to be different for each monster, and so for example, like Titan, where are you going to stab Titan? That's you guys will have to just try it yourself.
Interesting.
はい。
Oh, that's awesome. I hope you guys are excited. I'm sure we'll have much more to come on Rogue and Ninja. So, guys, make sure you look forward to it. Okay, let's move on right back to our questions. Next up, will we ever see more fates like Behemoth and Odin in the future that give, kind of the exclusive rewards or exciting different rewards?
Okay. 難易度の高いベヒモスとかオーディンのようなフェイト、特別な報酬が出るフェイトは、今後、用意されるんでしょうか？
そうですね、今パッチ 2.3 でそのモブハントっていう仕組みを入れてるので、それで大体一旦そのフィールドにバーッと置いていくものとしては一通り揃うかなと思ってるので、その後でまた大きなその難易度の高いものだったりフェイトの難しいやつだったりっていうのは考えていこうかなと思ってるので、ないとはもちろん言わないです。
Okay. So starting in for patch 2.3, we have something a little bit different planned. We have the hunt planned, and during the hunt there'll be lots of different types of NMs and new monsters being added. As for fates that are like Odin and Behemoth, we are, of course, not going to rule out having some of those in the future, and we'll think about it. But again, for 2.3, we're going to focus on the hunt, and then from there, think about new fates.
Nice. That makes sense. Okay, next up. Can we get a minstrel's ballad battle that pits us against the Imperial generals from the end of the main scenario?
はい。じゃあ、究極元素アルティマウェポン破壊作戦のような、難しいバトルがあると思うんですけど、そこで、リトアティーンとかリュウヤとかネロ3人と戦うそのような、違法の詩人が、出す究極のクエストって今後追加されるでしょうか？
なるほど。
欲しいなっていう。
まあ違法の詩人次第じゃないですか。あの人がどんな歌を歌うか次第。
It all depends on the wandering minstrel.
ただ実は面白くて、僕ら今そのファンフェスに向かってそのファンフェスで楽しめるようなイベントのバトルをなんか作ろうかって話をしてた時に実は出たネタではあります。メインストーリーの中に出てきた帝国四天王と同時に4人と戦うようなバトルを作ろうかって話をしてたんですけど、最終的に実はもっとというかもっと楽しめるというかプレイヤーの皆さんがそうきたかっていうコンテンツを1個用意しようとしてて、こっちは1回ペンディングになってるんですけど、まあ、今回リクエストがあって、僕らバトルボイスも全部用意されてるし技も全部あるのでいずれ何かのタイミングで作っていきたいなとは思ってますね。彼らあれだけで終わるのはちょっともったいないので。
So for FanFest coming up in October, we're creating special content for those events. And one of the first ideas that came up from the development team was to create a battle where you fought not only the 3 generals but the 4 generals. And that was one of our first ideas. But since then, a better idea has come up, and so we decided to go in that direction instead. However, this is a really good idea. We still think it's a really good idea. And because we got this question, we know there's interest from the fans. So in the future, we would like to do something like this. We think it would be, really fun. We have all the battle voices. They all have their special moves. Why not have a battle where you could fight all three or four?
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Okay, what is the status on personal housing? Lately we've been talking about, free company housing, having your own room. But where are we at with personal housing?
今回そのハウジングの方で、今後その個人の部屋はできたとしても、個人用のハウジングっていう話は前にあったと思うんですけど、その話は進んでますでしょうか？
もちろんもう作業していて、パッチ 2.3 ではそのフリーカンパニーのハウスに、個人ルームが実装されますけど、多分個人で家が買えるっていうのは2.38 かな、35多分間に合わないかどうかっていう感じなので、ただパッチ 2.4 までは引っ張らないとは思います。急いでやってるので、なのでもうちょっとお待ちいただけたらなと思います。
So private housing has not gone away. It's still on our list. It's been okayed. It's just that we're still not ready for that yet. So in 2.3, we'll be releasing private chambers. So it's a private room for players within the free company's estate. And we hope to have private housing for individuals by at the latest 2.38, and before 2.4. So.
Nice. Makes sense. I'm sure people will be happy to hear that. So I don't know if everyone at home has seen our new E3 trailer we just released. We just released it earlier, I think right at the start of E3, and it had a cool look at a lot of different primals in Final Fantasy 14. And I think at the end, I'm pretty sure I can confidently say that was totally Shiva, right? I mean, that was Shiva. Can you tell us some about Shiva?
今回、公開された E3 用のトレーラーで、晩神はほぼ全部出てきたんですけど、その一番最後に、シバらしき、ものが出てきたんですけど、あれシバですよね。あれシバですよね。
バイクにはなってなかった。
シバIt's not a motorcycle, not a Shiba bike.
No.
いや違うんです。今回そのパッチ 2.3 ってラムーなので、ラムーでポスターをね、その E3 のポスターを作ろうとしたらおじいさんなのであんまかっこよくないって言われて。
Okay, so when they were, working on, we need to make a poster for E3 to show everyone. Okay, 2.3, Ramu's coming up.
Exactly.
Let's make a poster of this old guy with a long beard. It just wasn't sexy enough.
特にアメリカの PR チームからラムはないんじゃないですかと。
Yeah, our US PR team, our marketing team was like, yeah, I don't know about Ramu.
なので、じゃあもう芝を出そうかと。なので、この後やってくる慢心だと思ってもらえればもちろんいいですし、微妙にこれからその芝のストーリーって結構実は長い。パッチ 2.3 からじわじわもう始まっていくので、そんなにパッチ 2.4 でこうボーンと出てくるというよりも、ここからはその拡張パックに向かって話もどんどんシリアスだったり長いストーリーになってったりするので、そこら辺も注目してぜひ見といてくれればいいかなと思います。
Okay, so again, because the PR team was like, we decided to go with the sexier Shiva instead.
Probably a wise choice.
Yeah, and the Shiva story, even though Shiva won't be appearing in 2.3, the Shiva story will start to begin because Shiva has a very long and complicated story that ties in with the whole main story and where we're going in the future to the expansion. And so we want to start talking about it in 2.3, and then in 2.4 build up to the appearance of Shiva and then go from there even. And so it's all going to be tying in. So players can look forward to hearing about, learning about Shiva in the next patch, even though she won't be there.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, people have been super happy to see Shiva. They're like, oh man, what's she gonna do? What's it gonna look like? And so the E3 trailer today, people are getting really excited now. So that's awesome.
シバは期待の晩神だったので、やっぱすごい楽しみに待ってます。
そうですね。やっぱファイナルファンタジーっていうと、やっぱりイフリートね、ラム、シバってやっぱり絶対出てほしい特にね召喚獣だと思うので、やっと バハムートも含めてですけど、まあ勢揃いするのかなと。
I mean, yeah, when you talk about the Final Fantasy series and you talk about, the Primals, the Espers, or those summons in those series, it's all Ifrit, Ramu, Shiva. It's the top three. And so finally we get to release Shiva to the fans.
Nice. Okay, so here's one we've been getting kind of a lot on the forums. Have you thought about adding some 8-man dungeons? Because currently, right now, the only 8-man dungeons are the main scenario dungeons from the story mode. So players are looking for kind of a bigger challenge.
今現在フルパーティー向けのインスタンスってメインシナリオのインスタンスしかなくて、で今後、そのフルパーティー向けのインスタンスダンジョンは追加する予定はありますでしょうか？
なんだろう、世界中でやっぱりそれぞれのコミュニティとかそれぞれのプレイスタイルでやっぱりすごく言われることが違って、例えば4人向けのダンジョンをもっとたくさん欲しいとか、8人向けだと人数集めるのが大変なんでもっと減らしてほしいとか、逆にソロでダンジョンへ行きたいとか、本当にたくさんフィードバックがあるので、まあ、順番に一つずつやっぱり答えていくしかないのかなと。で8人向けの作るのはそんなに難しくはないんですけど、やっぱりその8人用のコンテンツがたくさんあってもやっぱりなかなか8人集めるのが大変という部分もあるとは思うので、まあそれよりは僕ら晩神のバトルで気軽にボスだけチャレンジできるってものをたくさん作ってまずは行く方がいいのかなと。でどうしても8人用のダンジョンってなるとギミックも難しくなっていってはしまうので、ちょっとそれよりはダンジョンはできるだけ4人とか、あとは4人で行けるダンジョンをソロで入れるようにしたりとかっていうことを考えつつで、ちゃんと回り始めたらまた8人をチャレンジで出してみようかっていうふうにやっていく可能性はあるのかなと。
長いです。I think I got most of it. I think I got most of it.
大丈夫、優秀だからマイケル。大丈
夫。Again, we realize that because this is a global game and released all over the world, that there are a lot of different needs for the different communities, for our Western communities and for the Japanese communities or communities in Australia, wherever. And each community has different styles of playing and different needs, and so we get a lot of comments from different communities saying, okay, some people they want more light party rates, they want more 4-person content. Then we get people that say we want less 8-person content because it's very difficult to get 8 people together. And then there's also those people that say they want to go solo into those dungeons, go in by themselves and have solo dungeon type of content. Right. And so because people all over the world are asking for all 3, we want to do all 3. We want to be able to provide for each group, but we can only do one at a time. And so we look at prioritizing which is better. And we do realize that it is very difficult sometimes to get 8 players to get together to do that type of instance content. And so we want to work on first, doing what we've been doing, like getting those primal battles, getting light party content in there first, and then maybe working on getting those solo dungeon runs in as well. And then once we've cleared that, move into that 8-person content. Even for us, it's difficult to create 8-person content because there's more for us to do, because there's more types of traps and more types of the gimmicks that that the monsters use, different mechanics, exactly. And so it's difficult for us to create those. And so we want to make sure that there's real interest for those from around all the different communities before we actually take the time and effort to go in and make them, because we want to make them great.
Right.
Good job.
Wow, you got it all. That's great. Okay, so one of the questions we've been getting a lot lately too is for people that are in huge, really large free companies. They've been talking about there's not a lot that they can do as a really large, big free company. Not something that all their members can be involved in. So have you been thinking about creating, content that kind of centers around these huge, large communities?
やっぱフリーカンパニーっても何十人何百人と大きなフリーカンパニーもあると思いますけど、そのフリーカンパニー向けのコンテンツ、みんなで一緒に参加してできるコンテンツは考えてるんでしょうか？
これもやっぱりすごい超巨大フリーカンパニーから、4人で仲良くコツコツやってるフリーカンパニーまで本当にたくさんあるので、例えばフリーカンパニー全員で一つの、バトルエリアに入って戦いますみたいなやつ、それ4人でもプレイできなきゃいけないし、なんか200人でもプレイできなきゃいけないって言われると何を作っていいかわからなくなってしまうので、 さすがになんかこう一つのコンテンツでそれをやるつもりって今のところないんですけど。
Okay, so as you know, there are many different types of free companies.
Sure,
Some
yeah.
free companies who have 200 members. Some free companies, it's just a group of 4 or 5 friends that get together.
Yep.
And so when you think of having a type of battle, where everyone in a free company goes to an area, and when we have to design it, do we design it for 200 people or do we design it for 4 people? Right. If we design it for 200 people, then the free companies with 4 people can't play it.
Right, exactly.
And so it's very difficult for us to create that type of content. So right now we're currently not thinking of that type of content.
で今その代わり計画しているのが、そのフリーカンパニー自身がいくつかのお題の中からこれをみんなで頑張ろうっていうのを、決めて、その目標に向かってフリーカンパニーに所属している人たちでいろんなそのエオルゼア内の活動をすると、なんだろう、コンテンツがクリアになるみたいな遊びを今考えていて、パッチ 2.4 までには何かしらまたアナウンスが出せるのかなとは思います。そんな遠くなくやろうとはしているので。
Okay. So, but however, we do realize that players want more content for the free companies, more activities, and so what we're thinking of now is creating something where maybe a list of maybe quests or goals, and the free company will decide which of these they want to do, and certain people in the free company will go and achieve those goals to work together to do something big. So rather than doing everything together, it's people in the group doing separate things and then combining that all together as one. And we hope to have that in by patch 2.4.
Nice.
で選ぶことによって、人数の少ないフリーカンパニーからすごく多いフリーカンパニーまで自分たちで決められるようにすることで、どっちその人数に関わらず楽しめるような遊びにしたいなって話をしてます。
Yeah, and by doing it this way, then it basically caters to both the large free companies and the small ones.
Yeah,
with the large one, everyone can participate, and with the small ones, everyone is going to have to do everything, but they can do it they can complete it as well.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. Oh, that's cool. So here's one we've been getting a lot as well. Will we ever see a return of unique stats and enhancements in weapons and armor like we had in version 1.0?
OK。以前の、レターライブで、さらなるマテリアクラフトの仕組みを検討しているっていうふうに。
No, this one's about the, from
今の違うよ質問。
Where it's like shield bash plus 20.
今多分武器にスペシャルなプロパティが欲しいっていう質問だよ。
OK。The enhancements. OK。
本当にアメリカ人
No.
Don't worry.
No. Okay, I got this right. Yes. So yeah,
will we see a return of those previously relics would have shield bash plus 10 or
okay,
jump,
so it would affect
jump plus 20
got it.
things like that.
以前の旧 FF14 で例えば一つの武器にアクションの効果がアップするっていうようなエフェクトはあったと思うんですけど、それは今後考えているのでしょうか。
今のところつけてない理由ってどうしてもそのプレイヤーの方ってじゃあどれが一番そのプロパティの中で有効なんだろうって議論になって、結局それってテンプレート化されていってみんながその武器を使う。で僕らもじゃあバトルコンテンツをバランス調整するときにみんながそれを使ってくることを前提にして調整していくとますますその武器が外せなくなっていったりしていくので、その良し悪しがやっぱりちょっとあるなと思ってて、で割と慎重に今そのバトルコンテンツの例えば難易度だったりバランスっていうものをその ARR をプレイしてくれてる皆さんの中にだいぶ出来上がってきたかなと思うので、これからちょっと考えていってもいいのかなと。変化が欲しいということに関してはすごいよくわかるので。
So, one of the worries about doing that is that when you create this, template that this weapon will improve this.
Right.
Everyone starts using that for the same battles, which means that when we design a new battle, we have to assume that everyone will have this and they will use this and that it will affect this.
Becomes like a requirement.
Yeah, it becomes like a requirement, and we didn't want to do that up until now, just because it makes it less interesting for the players. It reduces the amount of choices that they have.
Right.
But we do realize now that there is more interest in these types of effects on the weapons, and so we think it's maybe time to start thinking about adding these things.
だからやらないっていうわけではないんですけど、すごくバランスに関してやっぱり慎重なのが割と14のチームの特徴だったりするので、ただリクエストはすごいよく分かってますし、変化が欲しいってことは僕もプレイヤーとして思うことなので、慎重に検討していきます。
I mean, we understand that the players want some kind of change, but then on the other hand, we've always been very aware that balance is a key in battle, and we're very careful. The development team is very careful in maintaining that balance that we have, and we want to find a happy medium, where players are excited about change, but the balance stays maintained. Be maintained.
Makes sense. All right, now this is one that we've been hearing a lot recently as well. So in the past, we've talked about airship building. We've talked about maybe this is something that free companies do. Maybe you'll have something you can build airships. Whatever happened to that? Whatever something.
だいぶ前なんですけど、飛空艇を、フリーカンパニーで、制作できるようになるっていうような話は出てたと思うんですけど、その話はどうなりましたでしょうか。
何ブツブツ言ってんの
？What do you have there in your hand?
前にねフリーカンパニーのハウジングの中にクラフトの工房を、専用に作って、そこで飛空艇なんかをみんなで作れるといいねという話をしてたんですけど、ちゃんと進んでます。
So, I mean, before we talked about, maybe having some kind of workshop for disciples of the hand within free company housing. Well, yes, we haven't forgotten where we are currently working on this. Zooming in slowly onto some.
しかしスローだなこれ。
Slowly.
Getting closer.
There we go.
Nice. ちゃんと見えてるかな。
See Yoshida-san's rings.
まあね。
The glare.
そうそう。これが地下に建設されて、
So what you see here is a basement in for the estate.
ここの真ん中で。何かね巨大なものをみんなで建造して、
something is being created there in the middle.
でまずは飛空艇かなっていう話をしてるんですけど、あまりにも巨大なねものをこう作ろうとするとすっごい巨大な工場をハウジングの地下に作んなきゃいけないのでちょっと魔法の力で模型のようにミニチュアって言ったって相当でかいですけど、それをみんなで作って実際出陣するときはフルサイズになるみたいな設定で地下工房を今作ってます。
I mean, we think about one of the first things we want players to be able to make in these workshops is, an airship. But then you think, okay, an airship is huge. How are you going to fit that in your basement?
Right.
And so you'll be
using. I ask myself that every day.
Because you're trying to build an airship in home. But they will be using the power of magic to condense the size, of your airship to make it manageable, and then you'll be working on that. But then once you release it outside of the magic will be gone, and the airship will work on something.
そういう設定にすることで、将来的に何でもねそこで建造できるようになると思ってるので、それもまたアップデートしていけるコンテンツとして今ちょうどねアートがラフですけどまだ上がったので、作り始めてます。
And so, I mean, by using the magic of making something miniature, you can go beyond just airships. You can create other large things as well. And we have some ideas, and hopefully we'll be able to release those soon. The art is currently underway. So.
Nice. So I'm sure you guys are taking screenshots of everything that he holds up, and when you go back and look at it, you'll notice a little white silhouette. That's actually the size of a person inside that huge room. So. I'm sure once you guys.
そうですね。白く後でまた動画を見直してもらったりするといいと思うんですけど、人のスケールが書いてあってさっきのアートの中でもう一回出した方が早いのかな。
If you look at it again, you can see what Matt was talking about. The little white silhouette down at the bottom shows the scale.
なかなか日本のようにパッと寄ってくれないな。
There we go.
これがね。白いそう人ですね。
Represents
まだ全体サイズそれでわかるかな。
It's fairly large.
Pretty massive. That's awesome.
Even with a miniature aircraft.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
まあ一人のクラフターで作るっていうよりは複数のクラフターで、フリーカンパニー全体で力を合わせて作っていくみたいなイメージで今開発中なので、また実機でね見れる日が来たらちゃんとお見せしていこうかなと。
The theme behind it will be, I mean, there's only one person shown on this artwork, but it's going to be multiple disciples of the hand in the free company will be down there working on it together. It'll be something that the whole free company can get behind and participate in. So.
Ties back into our previous question. So next up, this is one that we've talked about a lot when we were leading up to the launch of Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn. But what happened to the concept of primals that were roaming around over on the land that free companies could capture
and then summon
and then use?
以前にだいぶ前なんですけど、エウルゼア内で蛮神たちがもうあちこちのマップで登場して、それでフリーカンパニーが戦ってそれで召喚できるようになるっていう話はリリース前にあったと思うんですけど、その話はどうなりましたでしょうか？
普通にまだタスクの中には入ってますよ。いつやるかっていう話をしてるだけで。やめるつもりもないし、いずれやりますけど、シナリオに合わせて、まあどのタイミングでやろうかなって感じではあります。はい。
So yeah, this has not gone away. It's still on our list of tasks. We haven't gotten rid of the idea. We're still working on it, but we're still trying to figure out a way to work it into the story. We want to work it into that main scenario and have it feel natural, not just happen.
Not just something. Oh, there's Ifrit.
Yeah,
I got him. That's cool. That makes sense. So another big one for the English-speaking community is what is up with the marriage system? Could you give us some more information about the marriage system you've been talking about?
結婚システムについていろいろ多分フォーラムで盛り上がってるんですけど、どうなります？どうなってますでしょうか？
今実装しようとしているのがエオルゼアの中で2人のプレイヤーが愛を誓い合うっていうその儀式というかシステムを開発していて、で仕様としてはもうフィックスできたんですけど、その儀式はあらゆる種族、同じ種族でもいいし異なる種族でもいいですし、性別に関しても、同性でも異性でも構わずそのプレイヤーが愛を誓い合うっていう儀式なので、そこは性別も関係ないですっていう作りでやってるので、今のところパッチ 2.4 を目指して結構大規模なものになるので。
Okay, we're currently working on this type of system, hopefully to release patch 2.4. We have a lot of stuff planned, but the gist of it is players, two players within Eorzea will be able to pledge their eternal love and or / friendship in a ceremony of eternal bonding. And this will be open to people regardless of race, creed, and gender. Two players, if they want to be together in Eorzea, they can through this eternal bonding ceremony.
そうですね。エオルゼアの世界で、愛を誓い合うのに別に性別や種族は関係ないよねっていうポリシーです。
We discussed it and we realized that within Eorzea, should there be restrictions on who pledges their love or friendship to each other, and so we decided to go this way.
その愛を誓い合った2人のみがね乗れる専用のマウントとかもあるので、ぜひ楽しみにしててください。
And we're thinking of special things such as special mounts that only people that have pledged their friendship or love can ride it together maybe.
Nice. Now I just need to convince my wife to marry me again in the game so we can possibly get some awesome reward. Well, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Loot.
That's what makes the world go round.
That's what makes the world go round.
Okay, so another question we've had, because we have Frontline coming in 2.3, something that's come up again is, do we have any plans to add dueling, so one-on-one kind of challenges?
これからフロントラインの大きな規模のPVP コンテンツが実装されるんですけど、1対1の決闘のような PVP は検討されているのでしょうか？
あんまりそのシステム的に楽しいのかなっていうところがあって、なんだろう、コンテンツとして作るのはあんまり想定はしてないですね。ただテスト的にデュエルがしたいっていう ところはあるのかなと。 DPS そのプレイヤー同士戦って DPS 確認したいとかっていうモチベーションはありそうな気はするので、何らかの形でデュエルがテスト的にどっかでできるみたいなのは考えますけど、あんまりコンテンツとしてはまだ考えてないですね。
As for actual, hardcore set in-game content, we're not really thinking of it just because we don't know if we can make it into a system that's actually that fun, system-wise. But we do realize that a lot of players out there want to have these duels to maybe check their DPS, check their current weapons or armor and see how it's working, and use this as that type of test. And we understand that. And so, creating a dueling system that would allow players to do that is something that we definitely consider.
今のさ、PVP での DPS を確認したいね。今の言い方だとさ、PVE の DPS をチェックできるじゃん、人形でになっちゃわない。
じゃあ PVP での
やっぱり、そうお互いのダメージチェックをしたいみたいなのはあるだろう。
Okay, yeah. So just to clear that up, it wouldn't be PVE DPS because you can already use the striking dummies to do that. It would be PvP, your PvP weapons and your PvP armor, checking that.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So for the Zodiac weapons in the future, players have been wondering, will we be able to see, some kind of special visual visual that makes it stand out, that maybe different animations or different sounds or something for your skills or things like that. They really want to show off all the hard work.
ゾディアックウェポンでやっぱ一生懸命作ってきたものなので、やっぱ将来的にその各武器に専用のエフェクトとかサウンドを追加される予定はありますでしょうか？
ノウスの次の段階がもう今作り始めてるんですけど、そのノウスの次の段階で、今のレリック見た目に対してギミックがそれぞれにくっつきますね。可動部分というか。
Okay, so we have the Novus weapons right now. The next grade after Novus, we do plan on having something that will change the appearance.
で、今のゾディアックウェポンシリーズのラストというか、僕がもともとエクスカリバーっていうシステムで始めたシステムですけど、見た目がもう当時本当にゾディアックブレイブの連中が使ってたそのゾディアックウェポンっていうものに、いつか姿が変わる時が来ると思うので、楽しみにしといてもらえればいいなと。きっちり時間がかかるコンテンツですし、その分制限なく、皆さんのそれぞれのペースでやってもらうコンテンツだからこそ長時間かかりますけど、ちゃんと長時間かけたなりのリワードというか見た目もそうですけど用意するつもりでいるので、ぜひね楽しみにしといてほしい。
So, and then again, even after this next installment that comes after Novus, we do have, someday there'll be a final version, like what we imagine as that Excalibur type of weapon, and what the actual Zodiac Braves actually used. And so we want to make sure that that is something that's really special, that players will be, that will stand out, and the players that have spent so much time and effort creating these, that they will actually have that reward. They'll be rewarded for their effort in how the weapon looks, not only just the stats, but how the weapon looks and sounds. And so we do have things planned for that.
Nice. Okay, we're getting pretty close to the end of our time, but I think we have time for maybe one or two more questions.
Okay.
So let's see. So players have been talking about the fact that once you've beaten all the extreme primals and you've gotten all your weapons, all the extreme weapons, that those tokens that you get for completing that every week don't really have any purpose. So they're wondering, are there's anything that we'll do in the future that would give those tokens?
Okay. 極万神の武器を全部手に入れた後、やっぱロエナの手形のやつ残ってるじゃないですか。それの使い道が今はないんですけど、今後使い道はあるんでしょうか？
そうですね。包括したまたその極を3つ倒したらで今回ってますけど、あれをもっと数増やしてまた新しい何かを仕掛けを作る可能性はありますけど、今のところじゃあそれがパッチ 2.3 で何か使い道があるかというと今のところはないですね。ただせっかくの仕組みだし報酬でもあるので、またいずれ何かその仕組みを使って遊びは考えていくと思います。
じゃあ捨てない方がいいですよね。
そうですね。ただもう倒せる人にとってみればサクッと取れちゃうんで、そんなになんかインベントリー をずっとね圧迫するまで取っておく必要があるかって言われるとそこまでじゃなくてもいいのかなっていう気はしますけどね。
Well, I mean, currently for 2.3, we don't have anything planned for these. But in the future, again, there'll be new primal battles. There'll be new, battles that will, allow new opportunities for these tokens. But so I asked him, so should you throw the tokens away? You shouldn't throw the tokens away then? But he said, well, if they're taking up a lot of space in your inventory and you know that you can defeat the primals and just get them again, then maybe,
if you really
need the space, it's still a ways off.
あんまりほら何でもさ取っておいた方がいいですよ取っておいた方がいいですよって言うとさインベントリ増やせよって言われるので
Yeah, I mean the more stuff we say that oh yeah you should keep that
Right.
Then players start saying no we need more inventory space so we don't want to say you should keep it.
だからたまにはまあ一回捨ててもいいかなって
You can probably throw these away.
Okay.
You know where to get a new one.
Okay, nice. All right, let's do the last question.
Okay.
I think I would be killed if I didn't ask this question.
Uh-oh.
So, is there any update about being able to use your personal chocobo while you're queued and waiting for a duty?
OK コンテンツファインダーマッチング待ってる間にチョコボ
それを最後に聞くのかいマット
I told you they would kill me if I didn't ask it. So.
Save the worst for last.
いやーすっごい分かってるんですよね
We know that players really want this.
すっごい難しいんですよ本当技術的にでどうしてもそのマイパッチごとにコンテンツファインダーのアップデートとかその利便性向上ってやってるので一回それを止めないとやっぱりじっくりやらないと外せないのでちょっと迷ってるところではありますやらなきゃいけないのはもちろん分かっていてずっと検証もやってるんですけど難しいんですよね頑張りますいつとはもちろん言えないんですけどまだ言えないんですけどやってますしやらなきゃっていうふうに思っているのでこの苦しい質問を最後にするのかお前はっていう
System wise, it's very difficult and because it ties directly into the duty finder and all the new content that we add and we are currently working on it. We're currently trying a lot of different options and trying to find a way to do this, but it's looking like if we wanted to do it we would have to stop creating content and stop that to fix this, and is it worth stopping creating new content to fix this? I mean it is, and we do realize that this is something that's very important and a lot of players are asking for and it's something we have to do, but trying to find a way that we can do it without affecting other parts of the game is what we're working on now. So we are not going to give up. We're going to continue working on it, but we can't say when it will be implemented. You left the hardest question for last.
そうそのチョコボのバディシステムっていつかですけど例えば自分とマイチョコボで例えばダンジョンに行けるとか8人でパーティー組んでも要はチョコボっていうのを大事にパーティーメンバーとして扱うために汎用的にパーティーメンバーとして扱うっていう作りにしたがゆえにメリットもこれから先多いんですけど逆にパーティーがゆえにファインダーをパーティー状態変わるとファインダーってキャンセルされてしまうのでどうしてもそこに引っかかっちゃってやっぱりそれを回避するためにはチョコボをパーティーじゃない扱いにしなければいけないんですけどそうすることによって今度また不利益が出る部分もあるのですごい大変なんです。
Yeah, I mean, we currently designed the buddy system or the companion system so that your chocobo is part of your party. We're counting them as part of your party, as a party member. And so in the duty finder, if you go from party member to mount, then it's no longer a part of the party, and that affects the duty finder in that way. There's a lot of benefits of having the chocobo as a party member, and we really like those benefits, and we want to keep those. So, saying, okay, then let's just make, the chocobo back into a non-party member, then you lose some of those benefits that you had as a party member. And so it's about balance and finding, the right way to do this so we can keep those benefits.
Okay. I'll ask one more question so that we don't end on a hard one and I don't lose my job. So one of the questions we've been getting is, are there any possibilities of having different HUD settings? So like if I'm on DPS class, maybe my HUD is this way, and if I'm on a healer, if I switch over to healer, maybe my HUD changes for...
今その UI のレイアウトは 個しかできないじゃないですか。でそれを例えば、複数欲しいです。例えばその自分がヒーラーをやってる時にこういう UI のレイアウトが欲しいって、タンクの時はこういうレイアウトが欲しいって、複数の UI レイアウトを保存したいっていう。
なるほどね。いや分かりますよ。分かりますけど、紐付けが超難しいんですよね。もちろんやれなくはないし、実は UI チームの、ミラ側のタスクリストにも実は入ってたりはするので、できるタイミング、もちろん順番に消化してってますけど、多分できるタイミングが来たらきちんとお話できるんじゃないかなと思います。僕らもあった方がいいと思いましたよ。アーマリーシステムだからあった方がいいし、ぜひ自分たちがプレイしてる時も欲しいよねっていうやっぱり話が多いので、いずれアナウンスできるんじゃないかなとは思います。はい。
I mean, system-wise, it is definitely possible, and it is currently on the task list of our lead UI guy. But it's just one of those things that's very difficult to implement. But I mean, as a player itself, it's something that he would want. It complements the armory system perfectly, and so it's definitely something that we want to do. And once we have it locked down, then we can make an announcement at that time. Yep.
Nice. All right, I think that is going to wrap it up for the Letter from the Producer Live special E3 edition. I know that you kind of hinted at it a little bit earlier about Fan Festival in October, so maybe you should give them just a hint of what's coming. Or we can say, stay tuned for Letter from the Producer Live Part 15.
先ほどファンフェスの話が出てて、ファンフェスの時に拡張の版の話は出てくるっていう、もうちょっと何かないですか？最後ですから。
その打ち合わせにないこと聞くなよっていう。
Yeah, what are you doing asking questions that weren't in our rehearsal? He's not ready for them.
そうですね。
I would say tell them to watch the 15th letter would be a good hint.
まあ
その前にね、その次のプロデューサーレターライブ、あさってにやるやつ、まずそれを見てから。
いやでもそっちはね、パッチ 2.3 特集パート2だからさ。
Okay, so that's mainly just about 2.3.
Right.
So something about the
まあそうですね。まあチケット制にもなると思うんですけど、ファンフェスはティーザーサイトもね、間もなく開くのか開かないのかみたいなね、チケットは早めに取った方がいいのかな、インゲームアイテムもついてきたりするのかなみたいな。これ以上言うとね、本当にそこに隠れてるね、モルモルに超来られるんで、まあこれぐらいですかね。
Yeah, at the Fan Fest, there's been hints that we'll be releasing a special website for the Fan Fest really soon, and that at that website that you'll be able to purchase tickets, and saying that people should get in there as quick as possible because these tickets will have their premium, and there might be like special in-game items that weren't connected to the tickets that only people with the tickets could get, but can't say anymore because that guy right there is now looking at us with these evil eyes.
まあぜひぜひね、情報出していくので楽しみにしておいてほしいなと。
But we'll there'll be new information coming, as soon as we have it, we'll release it to you. So
awesome.
Please look forward to it, I think is the term.
That's it. There you go. Well, thank you guys very much for joining us. Thank you very much to my guests and answering all the questions. I'm probably going to be fired for those last few questions, but it's been an honor to host. Everybody, I hope you guys are looking forward to Letter from the Producer Live Part 15. Takes place on this Thursday. We'll be there translating and posting for you guys. And like you said, Patch 2.3 Part 2. A lot of awesome stuff in Patch 2.3 still to come.
Some new reveals.
Yes. So everybody, please look forward to it and have fun. Have a good E3.
All right. Bye.